All right, everybody, welcome to the Spots of Love podcast. I'm Karan, of course. I'm so glad you guys are tuning in. Today, we have another Barney fan, special guest with us, Malakai Finch. Malakai, welcome to the podcast, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. That intro was sick. I'm not even gonna lie. That was nice.
Thank you, man. I was like, when we started to come back with new episodes, it had to obviously get a new refresh, but I was like, we need to make this thing look like a movie. So yeah, I put that together. So I'm glad you like it. Thanks, man.
Awesome.
Dude, I told you before we started recording, but I'm glad you're here. I'm excited to talk to you. We've talked off and on over at least the last year, maybe a year and a half, about Barney, but about my show and things like that. And so I knew when it was time to do more episodes, I had to talk to you. So thank you again, just for agreeing and setting some time aside to sit down and talk to me, man.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, you know how we always start with our podcast is let's just start at the beginning. For you specifically, with your journey with Barney, what is your earliest memory? Do you remember how you got introduced to it, or do you remember whatever that earliest memory you have of this character and what that was like for you?
Yikes. I don't remember, but from the story my mom told me, because it's kind of funny, I really think I'm like one of the youngest in this fan base because I'm only 20. I'll be 20. Yeah, like I'll be 21 next month. So it's like for me, it's like seeing all of you guys. You guys are all older than me. So you guys have these stories from the 90s, but really I'm just an early 2000s baby who just my mom said I was about 4 months old, and it was on PBS one day, and she said Barney had like a cycle where it would come on TV like at certain times of the day. She said one day it was just on, they cut it on, and she said I was like that, like it was like love at first sight. I was hooked, like it was like just boom. And then she started going to thrift stores. She's getting tapes for like a nickel, a quarter a piece. She's getting the tapes, and the tapes are like going in, and she said at 6 months old I knew how to work the VCR. Like I'm watching the tapes, and then Sprout launched, and it was just kind of like, okay, this is gonna be a thing here now. So I think for me it's been as early as like 4 to 6 months old.
Wow, man. Dude, this is exciting because I think everyone I've talked to so far have been around my age or so, or like grew up with the 90s era of Barney, like living in that time. So it's super cool to talk to somebody who were you born in 2000?
In 2003.
In 2003. So you were born after like the huge boom of what Barney was, which is super cool to be able to talk to somebody from that realm. Yeah, Barney, I mean, I'm sure there's other young people who watch the show around your age, might even be younger. Barney on PBS, it always had that dedicated time slot. It was a syndicated show until like 2012 or 13, I think. So that's how I fell in love with Barney too. Was I grew up in my grandma's daycare, and my brother watched it because he was born in 92. I was born in 93. He watched the very beginnings, and then it just got passed to me, and I was the one who stuck with it the most. But watching it on PBS is how I was introduced to it as well. So that's dope, man. Dude, working the VCR at 6 months.
Listen,
that's crazy.
It was so bad. She would put a tape in, and she would just give me the remote, and the tape would play. And at the end of the tape, I actually remember this. I would hit stop, and I would rewind the same tape. She said I would watch the same tape over and over again. And once it broke, or I don't know how many VCRs I went through as a kid. I went through so many VCRs. It's kind of scary. I'm not even gonna lie.
Dude, that's dope because I was the same way. Like I didn't break any VCRs, but like it was always like for me it was constant. I watched Barney so much. My family's nickname for me was Barney. That's all they called me, and I would imitate the show all the time. So it was just like, soon I didn't even watch credits on with the show. It was just like, all right, once this tape's over, it's time to either reverse it or put another one in. Like there was no. I mean, once the doll winks, it's like, all right, let's bring it back. What are we watching words for? Let's get to the action again.
It was so bad with me. I knew I would watch the tape, the credits, and I knew the previews, like the commentary for the previews, like off the back of
Yeah.
my head, like, and I was like, the What a World We Share, come on. I'm like, yeah, get your copy of What a World We Share, produced by Lyric
Yep.
Studios. Like I knew all of that stuff like at a very young age. It was kind of crazy. Like after those previews, that Lyric Studios logo, roll it back or put another tape in, it was over. Like,
Man, that's cool. Do you remember any of those, like, still to this day, like off the top of your head? Can you recite one of those like previews?
oh my gosh. I probably definitely can't, but like if I watched it, like I just remember it was like
It comes back,
the
yeah.
guy, yeah, like the guy had the really exciting voice. He's like, "Get your copy of My Party with Barney, available on home video." From da, 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 da," like
Yep.
like just type stuff like that. So
Yep. Yeah, mine, the one that always sticks in my head is when they had it was the preview for Sing and Dance with Barney. So it was
mm,
now I just literally had it in my head. How did this start? Um Guess who's having a party? And then they're like
yeah,
talking.
yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah.
And my thing that I always would recite was like the little banner telling you to watch after the video is over for a please stay tuned. The
Please
following
stay
is
tuned. Yes,
presentation.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I do it even to this day. Like if I'm watching Barney or if I'm watching it with my kids and that "Please stay tuned" bumper comes on,
Yeah.
I'll just do it, or I'll do the financial broadcasting
Yep.
bumper in the beginning. I recite it all the time. It's like
Yep.
muscle memory is so bad.
Man, dude, that's super cool. I always like it's always fun to talk to more fans who had like the same experience as me because as a kid, you think like you're the only kid that's
Yes.
reciting those things or imitating the show or things like that. And then as I've gotten older now and Barney is more accepted than it was when I was a kid and talking
Hmm.
to other people like you about this stuff, like it's super dope that like we all were connected in that way without knowing that the other person was out there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, I
But
100% agree.
man, I was so into like imitating the Barney movies. Like it got so bad. Like I would imitate even like the Wiggles. Like it got to a point where they would put the Wiggles song on the beginning,
Oh
um,
yeah.
and I would do the whole
I
the
knew the
dance with
whole
Wiggles
music
first and
video.
everything first.
Oh my gosh. I love it's so funny that you mentioned that because to this day, every day with my preschool kids, we do music and movements. And I incorporate Barney songs, but I started doing Wiggle songs about a month ago. So like
Oh yeah,
every like I remember certain Barney VHS tapes, they had the Do the Monkey song,
yep,
and then they had the Dancing with Wags the dog. Like we do
man,
that stuff like every day, and I knew the choreography like smack down.
yep,
Like
yep.
I'm 5 years old in front of the TV doing the choreo. Like I knew it like it was like clockwork. Like it was muscle memory. It was crazy.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly how I was. Like I do it still to this day, like because my 3-year-old, she's like obsessed with Barney right now.
I
Like
love
it's
that.
Barney and Mr. K, and like that's if she sees the YouTube logo, that's the only two shows that exist like on YouTube is those two to her. And
I
like
love that.
I'll get up and sometimes I think just yesterday I was it wasn't the Wiggle stuff, it was a Barney episode. I can't remember which one she was watching, but I was doing the whole like dance routine to it and she was just like amazed. Like it was the funniest thing to her to like see me doing the dance. But it's like dude, that's just the stuff like that's childhood. You get to relive that and then you have your kid who enjoys it with you. Like
For
you can't go
sure.
or like you're in this place where there's tons of kids and they enjoy it, you enjoy it. It's just fun all together.
I think it's so funny because I think my kids get sick of me. Like
Oh,
it's so
really? Yeah.
bad because I think they're like Mr. Malachi's having more fun than us. Like, and I really, truth be told, I really do. It's like I love it. Like it's like a non-judgmental free zone with the kids, and it's
Yeah.
like you're in your element. They're having a good time. You're doing. She'll be coming around the mountain with them, and they love it. You're doing the movements. They're doing the
Yeah.
movements. Clapping song, green grass grows. Like they love it. I love it. It's just
Yeah.
I'm here
Man,
for
and I
it.
think that's that's what here we are in 2024 and that's what Barney always was anyway was that's what
Hmm.
they created the show. They wanted the kids to get up and dance, but they also did inadvertently want the adults to enjoy the show with them. They didn't make it
They
for them,
did
but they wanted you to enjoy it with them. And I think like
absolutely.
the hate that Barney got, if a lot of those parents would have just enjoyed the show with their kids and found that inner child with them like we can do today, it would have been very different for a character like Barney. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I like even going to the documentary. I used to like I was asking myself how could people and adults be so evil towards something so
Yeah.
beautiful? And it was like, if we really sit and think, because even for us, it's not for us, it's for
Yeah.
them. At
Yeah.
a point in time, we were them, and it was for us. But
Mhm.
it was never for our parents. It was like you said, it was for them to enjoy with us. And it's like,
Exactly.
if your child loves this thing, then you could devote 30 minutes, 30 to 60 minutes with them to sit and have a good time with them. Like,
Yeah.
it's all in love. And that's what Barney was love. So like the unnecessary hate that came from adults and parents was like, it was so like insane and mind boggling. Like,
Oh yeah. Still to this day, like it's one of them things.
yeah.
But um, and we're obviously a podcast of positivity, but we're also starting to see that same kind of thing with this new iteration that's coming out. But
Oh
now
yeah.
the people who are bashing it in a sense or not really trying
Uh,
to understand the message are people who are us,
who
like
are fans.
from the
Yeah.
fans, yeah. And that's what I try to hone in on for people is like, yeah, this is going to be very different than anything we've ever seen for Barney. But
Hmm.
we've always preached for years, like, man, how great would it be for a world to have Barney on our TV screens again, right? And now we're
Hmm.
we're finally getting into that world. In a few short months, we're going to be there.
Hmm.
And while it's not what we grew up with, there's a new generation of kids that get to grow up with not only their own version of Barney, but they also have ours. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
They have it. They have the kids of today have it even better than we did because they have all these different versions of Barney that
All
still
of
will
them.
touch. The new one will touch them in their own special way, and they'll identify with that. Just like the park era stuff, people like maybe yourself who you only knew that to be on TV, back then. That's what it was
Hmm.
for you. Where for us, we had the '90s thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so it's just all those things. But yeah, so like it's just like it's so weird that it was weird then, and then watching the documentary and seeing people how they treated Barney then. But it's also kind of weird now to see fans who were like, "Why don't you love Barney?" as kids, and now we have to ask them the question like, "What's your problem with this
Yeah.
character?" It's not for us anymore. Um,
It's not.
so yeah, so let's go back to your experience. You ran through a bunch of VCRs and things like that for these videos. Do you have to this day, or did you have at that time, like an absolute favorite video that above all the rest you had to watch that one?
Whew, I know exactly. See, when I was ready when you were gonna ask this question, because
Yeah.
there was one video I had so many copies of, and I watched it like like it was crazy, and and it has to be Talent Show.
Oh yeah.
Talent Show is so nostalgic to me. Like I watch it, even watching it today is like it just brings back memories. I've seen it 1,000 times. I know the plot. I know the songs. Like I've ran through so many copies of Talent Show, like, and it was one of
Yeah.
those tapes my mom said that would play. It would after I Love You, I ran it back. It would
Hmm.
play again after I Love You, ran it back. Like Talent Show was one specific episode that I really like used to
Yeah.
sit and watch for hours.
Man, I love talent show growing up. I don't know what it. I mean, I loved all the Barney stuff, but for me, when it came to like what I wanted to watch more or watch over and over, it depended on what their song selection was for that specific video or
Yes,
episode.
same. Oh my
You know what I
gosh,
mean?
we're just alike. Same.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
because like for me, like I'm a '90s kid, so I obviously grew up right at the heart of what Barney was. I can still
Hmm.
enjoy the later seasons like stuff with Riff, and it for me it boiled down to what songs are they singing. If they brought back
Same.
songs that I loved as a kid that they hadn't sang in a while, like
Hmm.
that just made that episode okay to me. You know what I mean? Like I didn't mind
Yeah.
whatever, however you got to the song was a different story that we could analyze if we wanted to. But I just enjoyed what songs are you choosing, and Talent Show was one of those videos where every song
Oh
was
yeah.
just like
A bop.
just it. Yeah.
Like I see I'm a church boy, and like I grew up in
Mhm.
church, and like my family surrounded around music, so I have like a very like musically inclined ear. So it's like for me, half the time when I'm watching Barney, even at my age now, I'm watching it for the songs. I'm not
Oh
even
yeah.
gonna lie, like I pick specific episodes to watch. Like What a World We Share. Another one of my favorites. The
Yeah.
song selections, like bop after bop after bop after bop. Like I love it. And again,
Mhm.
like the same you said with talent shows, like bop after bop after bop. It's like you know what song is coming up next, and it gets
Yeah.
you excited to watch it.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of the music, is there one like song specifically that is like it's just like the video stands out against all other songs for you?
Um, I'm kind of like you. Like I hear you say a lot. Like it depends on the day for you. So
Yeah.
sometimes it might depend on the day, but like if I had to really pick a song, because there's so many. Like if you think
Yeah.
about, it, there's so many from Park era and Classroom era. But really, I would have to say "Everyone Is Special." That song
Oh yeah.
has me, specifically the version from the first three seasons. That song really has me in like
Hmm.
a chokehold. Like love it. Like
Man,
it's my
Bob
song.
Singleton is unmatched. Like
He's
his musical
oh my god.
abilities just
Yes.
I've always said, and you said you've watched the podcast, all of them, so like you've probably heard me say this. I've always said the selection of people they chose in the very beginning of
Oh,
Barney were just as important as the creators to have made Barney what it was. If anyone was
absolutely.
missing in that whole sequence, it would not be the same show. And Bob
It
Singleton with that
wouldn't.
music that he created really gave Barney the sound that he had.
Yeah.
Dude, it's just Everyone is Special is a great song. Like I used to, when my daughter was born, I used to sing that to her. But I would sing her the lullaby version that they sang in the season 2 episode with Tasha's
Yep. Oh
twin
yeah.
babies.
Hmm.
And now it's to the point where I have a younger son now. And when he was just a few months old, she would sing that song to him.
I
So
love
like
it.
that's
I
one of
love it.
our songs right there. It's just, and like even to this day she'll just tell you out of nowhere like I'm special and you're special and mommy's special, and like it's because of that song and that
Hmm.
character that it relates to her as a 3-year-old who has never lived in the world where Barney was a thing other than us showing it to her. And is just as important as it was for us in the 90s, as it was for you in the early 2000s. And like that song is definitely a special one. Like, um,
Absolutely. The message is when you
man,
sit and listen to the words, the message is really it's deeper than what people make it. And
yeah,
it's like it's undescribable. Like you said, Bob Singleton is like unequivocally amazing. Like he's just
yeah,
I can't even put it into words. It's like his music ability is just I love it.
for sure, for sure. Um, Great. So that's a great song and a great video. Um, Did you? So you were born in 2003. So you grew with the Park era stuff too. Um,
Hmm.
do you relate more to the Park era thing since that was kind of like your generation, or do you find yourself leaning more to the '90s stuff?
I'm definitely still like a 90s. Like,
Yeah.
it's because I only say it because like I did watch a lot of Park Era because that's what came on TV and like
Mhm.
it would come on when I was in school, so my mom would like record and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I do relate to Park Era, but specifically 90s because I had all of the 90s VHS tapes. I had
Mhm.
the Backyard Gangs and I had the season one stuff, the two, the three, the four, all of that good stuff. And it's just what I grew up watching most. And it's like for me, I don't know if I had a specific PBS channel, but Sprout was like fresh when I was 2.
Oh,
So
yeah.
at first Sprout was only airing Park era stuff and like season they were airing Park era in season 4, 5, and 6 at first, if I remember. But then out of nowhere, Sprout decided to start airing 1, 2, and 3. It's like awesome. Like, okay, that's what I'm
Yeah.
watching. There's like specific episodes I remember Sprout airing like around the clock. And I sat, so I kind of got a mix of everything. Like every season was airing on Sprout at that time and
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
maybe 2007, 8, 9, around that time. Like, so I was
Hmm.
kind of watching all the seasons at one, but really I leaned more towards that 90s era of Barney. It's my favorite. Like it makes me feel more connected. Like I'm like a 90s baby at spirit.
Yeah. Well, and you were born in an interesting time too, because that was Barney had been on PBS, what, 11 years by that point, by the time you were born. And there
Yep.
was, even though season 7 and 8 were starting that same year, they weren't really doing home videos like that, like they had done before. So if a
Yeah,
parent like your mom wanted to find Barney content that wasn't on PBS, the only selection was all the videos from the 90s. So
exactly, exactly.
you would have to, you wouldn't find anything that looked like what was on TV currently at that time,
Yep,
because of that. So that's also kind of a cool year to be born in, because you were born right at the beginning of what the new era of what Barney would be, but also being completely exposed to everything that came up to that point, um,
right.
which is super cool. Um, let's talk. How do you feel? Do you have out of the dinosaurs on the show? I mean, obviously Barney is the number one character. Do you, out of the characters on the show? Let's not even say dinosaurs, just characters in general. Do you have a favorite character, or one that always stuck out to you more when you watched?
Um, I feel like a lot of people might say this. Definitely Men. I just grew up again watching that era of Barney,
Yeah.
and Men was like a fave. You could tell she was just one of those kids that really wanted to be there. Like
Oh
she
yeah.
had that drive, like the singing, the dancing, and Men was like that Barney favorite. And it's kind of like we watched Men grow up, and it's like she
Right.
came back multiple times, and it was so cool to kind of see that. Like I just
Hmm.
Men was great, but all of them, Derek, Tina, Michael, just that whole early era of kids, and even again seeing a lot of them back and sing and dance, it was so cool. Like, it was.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one, it would definitely have to be Men.
Hmm. Now I like Men too, and I don't know what it was about her character, and maybe it is exactly what you just said. Like she seemed like she really wanted to be there. A lot of the
Hmm.
kids that they chose in those very early years really, so I mean, I would even say through season 7 and 8, all the kids they chose really sold it. Like
Oh yeah,
they did look like they were really here in this place. They were really enjoying it, just being
and they were
kids, really
having
believing
fun.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Men is one of those special characters that, and I don't know if it is because she came back so many times, because she did come back and sing and dance, but she also came back
in the park era.
in the park era. She's the only kid from
Yeah.
that classic era that did, and maybe that might be why, like for me, she sticks out also. I don't
Hmm.
know, but she is one of those characters. But she also is one of those characters that she introduced a new culture to us.
She
Um,
did.
Derek was the first one. Well, I guess not Derek. If you look at the Backyard Gang, there was
Tina and Lucy.
yeah, and then you also had what's his name, Jason.
Yep.
He was there, but and I hope I'm not. I don't know. To me, Derek was like when he was introduced. Obviously, that was before I was born. But seeing him, he was like the kid that looked like us.
Absolutely.
Because he was the one
Yes.
on the series first. And then you got Tasha in there, but Men introduced a different element that none of us, I think, as kids in those 90s, or even when you were born, have been introduced to yet. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like for
Absolutely.
us, diversity was adding an African American in there, but
Hmm.
then you create a character like Men who has a Filipino background, or Tina
Yep.
and Lucy who had the Mexican background, that added something a little bit different to the show that you didn't have before. And
Hmm.
I also wonder, for me, if that's also why she's a character that sticks out, because I learned anything that I knew about the Philippines and that kind of thing was through Men in that
Same.
show. And up to
Yep.
that point, I had no idea that was even a thing that existed. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. Um, have you ever, did you ever get a chance to see Barney live at any point as a kid? Did you get to see
Uh,
any of the tours?
I'm so salty because no, like it was something that I've always wanted. Like even if it was just Universal, I never got the chance ever to see him. And my
Yeah.
mom, and I even asked my mom. It's so funny. I asked her this a couple of months ago. I was like, "Why didn't I get to see him?" Or like, "What happened?" She was like, "Every time he went on tour and we knew about it, sold out." She was like,
Wow.
every time he was nearby, sold out. Even if it was because I'm in Baltimore, Maryland. So
Yeah.
even if it was somewhere like PA or New York or something like that, sold out. Like
Wow.
sold out. The only place that I would have been able to go is Florida, but I still like never even got that chance. But
Mhm.
I never got to see him only because my mom said they never could find tickets like ever.
Wow, man. Hey, you're not alone because I never got to see it as a kid either. I did see Birthday Bash, which it's a
Mm,
live show, but I don't really count it as one. Um,
yeah,
and
I
I was an
know.
adult, but I never got to see live the Let's Go tour in 2006
Don't remember.
came to Lincoln. I'm here in Omaha, Nebraska, so Lincoln is like 40 minutes away. And my mom
Yeah.
wouldn't even take me to it. And my sister, I had a younger sister. She was only about 3 at the time, I think. And I was like, but she would love to see it too. Like, can we go see it? And they would not take me to see it. And I'm upset now because looking back, that's the only one that also didn't go to video or or there was no
Right.
soundtrack. And I'm like,
Exactly.
man, so I missed that whole opportunity to really see what a Barney live show would have been like.
Hmm.
So yeah, you're not alone. I also never got a chance to go to Florida to see that show either. I came close to auditioning, but I never
Oh,
got a
that's
chance
dope.
to even be able to see that. So I'm always envious of people that's had the opportunity because it's like,
Same.
man, I wish I could have seen it.
When you saw Birthday Bash, was it with those funky looking costumes and everybody
No,
looked
it was after they switched it to the hit
hit
Barney
looking?
costume.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right. Okay.
yeah. I didn't mind the Baby Bop and BJ costumes because BJ is like, to me, they kept his costume looking very much like the
Show.
season 2, season 3, or no, not
Yeah.
season 3, like the very early BJ version
Hmm.
of himself. And Baby Bop, it's just, you have to really try hard to mess up her look. Like, she's such a
Yeah.
simple look, but so great at the same time that like you would really have to butcher it to
Yeah.
not.
For sure.
Um, but no, yeah, I got to see it when they had the hit Barney costume,
Nice.
which was great. I took a bunch of kids, and I've said it before too. Like, they didn't even care. Like, they enjoyed the show a little bit, but like, Barney comes out and it's supposed to be this big thing, and like they didn't even it phased them. Like, they were like level 0 the entire time, and I was like, man, yeah, like,
Dang.
it's Barney right here. Like, yeah, you don't like care that this character, and like it didn't even matter. So
Dang.
if that tells you anything about how that series went, I guess
Hmm.
that was it.
I could tell. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed the show from, like we've said though. Like, I enjoyed it from the music side though, because to
Mm.
that point, while I do love Joe Phillips and the way he did the music also, his sound kind of started to get repetitive. Like, it
Yeah.
never changed a lot. And so
Hmm.
being able to see a live show that late in the game and have different
They
um
remixed all of those songs. That was
yeah,
crazy.
my favorite was I Love You, because it was very reminiscent of the very, very early era of Barney,
Yes,
while
it
keeping
was.
the sound that they had grown to. But we
Hmm.
also had to hear the same I Love You track for the past, however
Oh
many
my
years of that
gosh.
show it
Yeah.
was. And it was like, man, it
Yeah.
was so good to hear a new, fresh version of this song. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I think
Um,
they only changed. I think Joe Phillips only changed it once, and that was in the it was in one of those home videos.
Let's
The
Make
one where,
Music.
yes, that was the only
Yeah.
time he changed it. The
Hmm.
only time. That's so crazy. And that
He
version
changed.
was so pretty.
Oh yeah, that was the one that it was like completely new all the way through. He changed it in
Hmm.
one season 11 episode, called
Sleepless
this.
Sleepover.
Yeah, in the very beginning it sounded very much like the Let's Make Music version, and then
Hmm.
that's what it seemed like. It was like a more stripped back version of that. So those are like the
Hmm.
only two times. Otherwise, it was like, even for the Christmas videos, it was the same "I Love You." Let's just throw Jingle Bells over it. It
Yeah.
was like, man, you could, like, that's what I loved about Bob Singleton, even in the 90s when he wasn't doing the episodes but the home videos. Every home video had a new sound, a new
Yep.
I Love You rendition. And it was like, man, that's why I do enjoy the Birthday Bash from the music standpoint of it, if nothing
Hmm.
else, because just it was great to hear new sounds, at that point in the game.
For
Um,
sure.
man, what's those posters behind you? What do you got back
Oh, so that poster is like, modern Barney and backyard gang Barney together. I thought that was so cool. So
Oh
I
yeah.
like blown up. And then the one is like me next to him. I thought that was so cool as well.
Oh, that's cool. Where'd you get that one from?
Somebody made it for me. Somebody on Instagram, like he makes his like
No,
these nice pictures, and I was like, could you like make me one? Like I just asked out of like hunch, and he sent me that, and I was like, dude, like that's insane.
no, that's good.
So I had it blown up, and I was like, let's put that on my wall.
Nah, man, I like that. Yeah, man, those are sick.
Thanks, man.
I was
Thanks.
like, man, I was thinking when we got started, I was like, man, where'd you get that poster from? Like, how come I've never seen that one before?
Yeah,
That's super dope. I see you got the emotionally unavailable shirt on.
yeah, I do.
Is that? Did you get anything else besides that shirt, or is that the only thing you got?
I got this shirt, I got the keychain, and I got the cream version of this shirt.
Okay, nice, man. I
Yeah.
got the exact same shirt, the only the black one though, and the keychain also. I wanted the hoodie, but I was like, man, I don't really have the money for it.
Yeah,
At
it
the
was
time,
very high. It was very, very
yeah,
high. But I heard the quality was, worth it, which this quality is insane. This vinyl is insane.
oh
So
yeah,
I think that's pretty dope. But, it is what it is. Hopefully maybe they'll bring that back for a short period of time. That'll open up opportunities for us to kind of get it.
get it again, yeah, for sure. Are you, what are you looking forward to most with like this new refresh of Barney that's happening? We obviously have the new show, so that's going to be new merchandise and stuff coming out. Is there anything specific that like you're really looking forward to in this new age, I guess, of Barney?
I think I'm just more so concerned about them kind of keeping that message and not butchering it because a lot of
Yeah,
times they'll bring shows back. Like we were just raving about the Fairly Odd Parents thing,
yeah,
and that's I grew up watching that show. I love Fairly Odd Parents.
oh yeah,
It's one of my binge worthy shows. I watch it all the time. So seeing that it was kind of like, oh, different animation, different this, different that. It's
hmm,
like different. So I just kind of hope they really keep that same message of Barney and who he is. I wasn't one of those fans that saw this reboot and was like, oh my gosh, like this is insane. Like, oh my gosh, I'm pissed. I'm bitter. And
yeah,
it wasn't that serious because again, like you said, it's not really for us, even though I have to extend some grace and give us the benefit of the doubt because us as Barney fans, we were asking for years for a Barney movie and a Barney
hmm,
show, and now it comes back and it's kind of like a smack in the face, you might think. So I get that part, but I really have to sit and think like, okay, this is for us. This is for the new gen of kids. Let's see, what this thing is. So I'm
yeah,
very optimistic. I'm very like, I just want to see what's gonna happen. Maybe with the whole Crocs line and the emotionally unavailable, we've seen that older Barney come back. So maybe
yeah,
that'll be an opportunity for some of us who haven't seen him live. Maybe we can get a live show, something, or like, I don't know. So I just
yeah.
hope they kind of utilize the tools and materials they have and they just rock and roll with it, honestly.
Yeah, man. I'm in the exact same boat. I'm trying to have like the optimism with it all. Um,
Hmm.
because like even though I grew up in the 90s, I don't have a memory aside from videos like ever seeing Barney on on shelves. Like I don't have the memory of
Hmm.
seeing the Barney diapers and like the
Yeah.
Barney toys and things like that. So now that I'm an adult, I get to live that, even though it's a very different version of Barney. I get to see,
It's
these different
cool.
things as they roll
Yeah.
out, which is nice. Um, and but yeah, I'm just hoping. I've always said like it doesn't matter what he looks like if the message, like you said, is the same. If we're sticking to,
Absolutely.
even if he ends up being this kid character, if the message is still to the core who he is about love and about positivity and acceptance of other people, and it stays genuine, like because right now what I feel like too is everyone's banking on the nostalgia of things. I think that's why we're
Hmm.
seeing Barney again. It's not. I don't think Mattel actually cares to do something with Barney. I think it's well, right now the big thing is reliving childhoods, right? So
Yeah,
our one of our biggest brands that we have next to Barbie is Barney, and there's a
absolutely.
huge fan base. Let's revive this thing. So as long as it's genuine with how they make the character, I think people will grow to be okay with it. Um, And so yeah, I'm holding out hope there, but I'm looking very forward to like seeing, juice boxes and like clothes and all these things, buying
Same.
them for my kids, but also just seeing Barney just everywhere, especially in the world
Yep.
now where, yeah, he's still not always accepted, but all the adults today are kids who grew up with the show then. So it's a
Hmm.
different world than Barney was in the 90s where, you know, people were despising seeing it on shelves and things like that, where now he's welcome to be. I want to see him on like commercials and billboards and like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then yeah, these live shows and things. So um yeah, I'm all the way there with you. As long as they keep it genuine to who the character is, I think the show will work, no matter how it looks,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Um that's what I think too, is like, especially within an animation world, like you can go so many other places with a character like Barney that you can't live action because you have to build all these different sets or do those kind of things. Whereas in
Exactly.
animation, I could literally take you anywhere at any time, which opens up the
Exactly.
door for many different levels of like educational elements that they could talk about. But if the music, the new music they create, if it's good, more music elements and opportunities that they have. So it's all of those different things too that I'm interested in trying in looking at and seeing too.
And Mattel was very smart with it because we live in such an animation like generation now. Kids
Yeah,
love, they see these cartoons and they're like, it's like glue to an iPad. Like they love, their eyes are glued. They love it. So it's like
yeah,
they prefer that over live action anyway. So it's kind of like they were smart with it. So as long as they keep that message, and I don't want it to be like Coco Melon. I want it to
yeah,
be a completely different thing, you know?
yeah.
So hopefully they're smart and they don't do that.
That's the one thing, and I don't know if my words, I don't want it to sound negative, but that's the one thing that does suck about a show like Barney and it coming back is Barney is heavily music influenced, right? So it could
Yes,
very, very easily be just Coco Melon. It could be
exactly.
Barney, BJ, and Baby Bop and these kids and just
Singing the same
songs
songs.
over and over and over
Yep.
again. But they could also be take it in a creative way where, it's not that. So it could go either way. And that's also where I'm like, I'm hoping they do it the right way because yeah, you could very easily tire Barney songs out if it's just song after song after song after song with nothing
Yep.
really else in between it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Um, if you were in charge of like a character like bringing Barney back or part of the refresh or the reboot, is there anything that you would have changed? Would you have kept it the same? Is there things that you're hoping to see that you didn't see before with the show or anything like that?
Um, I believe that, change is inevitable. It's supposed to happen, whether good or
Yeah.
bad. So I think one thing that I kind of like about well, one thing that I wish they did more, that I like that Park Era did, that the Park Era did, was that they had different like arguments and rivalries, like Barney solving
Hmm.
problems. I know they did it more in the Park Era, but I wish they even times where Barney would get upset, like, and they would solve problems, like to show that everyone gets upset, like even like your the
Hmm.
person watching you, or even like your guardian, like everybody gets upset. It's all about how you solve it. So maybe like
Yeah.
add some more like problem solving things in there. Other than that, I don't really think I would change too much about Barney. It was good.
Hmm.
It was pretty much there. The music, the lessons, the education part of it, everything was like flawless.
Yeah. You're gonna get some people that they're like, "What are you talking about?" Because like that's the one thing that people despised with like the hit era stuff was the whole like conflict based approach that Barney never had before. Um,
Hmm.
I could see them doing more of that though because it's clear like it's going to be marketed as a preschool show, but it's clear they're going to be aiming more towards like the 4 or 5 year olds. Um,
Hmm.
and that's what they were trying to do with the hit era stuff, like around the I don't want to say hit era. When Riff came in, that was the whole new thing was conflict based, let's problem solve and those kind of things.
Yeah.
Where some of those diehard fans don't think that a character like Barney that it doesn't fit for a character like Barney. I'm on the fence because for me, I could be okay with just Barney being who it was before, just imagination and having fun and adventure and learning that way. But
Yeah,
also, we're in a we're in a world where everything right now, and you probably know this being in, child care centers, everything right now is social emotional learning.
absolutely.
Everything that comes out, that anything that has to do with targeting kids, it's all about how to handle big emotions and feelings, and how to handle have self-care for yourself and those kind of things. So even if we don't want it to, I think we're going to see for sure Barney and them having to solve some sort of a problem in episodes. And that's the big thing right
Absolutely.
now when it comes to children's media. But it's cool. I like that you say that you want to see more of that, because everyone that I've talked to so far, it's all like, basically, if you ignore what they did, which was all those kind of things, and just go back to
Hmm.
the basis, then that's the only way that the show can be successful. I think it can be successful having that same approach in the later hit stuff, if they do it the right way. Um,
Absolutely.
and I think that's what I'm hoping happens, that they do it the right way.
Yeah, and I even like noticed back in the documentary, when they had Steve from Blue's Clues talking, he made a really good point. He was talking about how, in the early part of Barney, which he was kind of right, it became sort of repetitive. It kind of gave Barney kind of gave this thing like everything is going to be peaches and creams no matter what at all times, and it's okay to let a kid know that it's okay to feel how you feel, and it's okay to be sad. That's why I'm glad, like, even looking at your comments, you were asking people about the worst Barney episode, and people were naming certain episodes that were actually really good, like
Yeah,
um is everybody happy? They were talking about how Chip was fussing at Baby Bob and
yeah,
how he was upset. That was good because he's expressing himself, he's letting Baby Bob know, but it's also good that Baby Bob was sad because that's how he made her feel. So when Barney kind of came, and like I wish he came and he said, well, you know what? Let's solve it this way. Kind of made it like a problem solving thing, and like even
yeah,
like they switched it up in season 10 with that differences episode. That was a really good episode because we kind of got to see Barney sad a little bit, which we've never
yeah,
seen, which was like really cool. Like it was different. Like Barney's sad because he's big and he's not human and he's not able to do these things that
for
kids are
sure.
able to do. And he sings this sad song. I'm like, when I first saw that episode, I'm like, whoa, like Barney's sad. Like what's going on? Like, and the
Yeah,
kids are singing to him and they're trying to help him. And I think stuff like that is really important. Like I think those social emotional involvements and those problem solving things, I think stuff like that is really, really important because it teaches a kid that not everything is peaches and cream. And when things get tough and you're sad, it's okay to be sad. It's all about how
yeah.
we move on, and it's about communicating about our feelings and expressing our emotions and things like that.
Man, I agree. I'm glad that you pointed out that, yeah, the the worst Barney episode thing is going to be fun, because
That is going to be very fun.
man, right now I'm getting some pushback from some fans, because they're like, what do you mean worst? There's no worst. And we're obviously not actually going like, oh, this episode is absolutely terrible. What we're
Like
trying to
it
see
could have
is,
been better.
that's exactly it. What is our angle is going to be, what's the least popular episode? Everyone always wants to jump to, most of the time, that comment that you're talking about was interesting, because most of the time everyone wants to jump to a hit era episode. So it was
Hmm.
cool to me for somebody to point out one from the classic era, because usually to them those are the ones that, like, oh, they
The
can't be
golden
touched.
years, yeah.
There's Yeah, but we're going to do it bracket style, and we're going to go by every season, and then eventually we have to come down to just one episode out of all of these episodes that exist, just one episode that has to be the least popular, or the weakest one, if you will. And it's fun to
Hmm.
put worst and Barney in the same sentence, because it sounds forbidden, like you're not supposed to say that.
Yeah.
And so
Hmm.
obviously it's all from a place of love, but it's also interesting to hear what people think when it comes to those episodes. So it's going to be fun. But you are absolutely right with an episode like, I'm glad you brought up differences, because that's one of those episodes that I actually enjoyed, and I
Hmm.
enjoyed it. The message was okay, and I understood what the message was, but I enjoyed it from the music perspective. That
Oh
song
yeah.
Barney sang,
It
"Being
was
Me,"
very, oh my
I
God,
love that
yes.
song. And some
Yes.
old Barney fans are like, "That's one of the worst songs." Like, I love that
Yes.
song.
so good. It was
Yeah,
so good. It was so good.
and
It screams that everyone is special message because
it
it's so
does.
like they even sung another good song. Oh my god. It's nice just to be me. I love that
Yeah.
song. When they sang that
Oh.
in the earlier years, I love that song.
Mhm.
So when they sang that and the guy in the wheelchair, the boy in the wheelchair, like it made him feel
Yeah.
welcome. Like kids need to see stuff like that because not only was the kid in the wheelchair glorified, but Barney was too. And it's like
Yeah.
it was so refreshing to see that. It was so different.
That is one of those episodes that I like because it was completely out of the element of what Barney was to that point. Like, and that's
Yeah.
why, like with my show, and we won't get into that a lot, but Mr. K's Clubhouse, the whole point is there's some times where we want to make sure that we show that Mr. K, although being an adult, um, is also not good at everything, or maybe he doesn't know the answer to this question. Is because right now, like all the way through our childhood, it's always been this facade that as an adult or Barney or whoever the case, they're always perfect. They had every answer. They can
Mm-hmm.
do everything. And that's what Barney was to that point. Oh, Barney can ride
Yep.
skate. Barney can ride a skateboard. He can I don't know, do jump around. He can do all these things. He had every answer to every question. But in that
Yep.
episode, we saw him be, to me, more real. He really can't ride a bike. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He really can't fit on a swing when he's full
Mm-hmm.
size. And then singing that song, I think that's one of those episodes that should get more respect because you do show
Oh
kids,
yeah.
hey, Barney also is not perfect, and that's okay that he isn't perfect. No, why would you want to be 100% perfect across the board? You know what I mean? Um,
Exactly.
so that yeah, that's a good. I'm glad you pointed that out. That's I love that episode as well. And it's nice just to be me is also one of my. They should have used that song far more than they did.
It's so
Um,
good.
but
So good.
that's one of them songs that's just like yeah. Even if that episode was a terrible episode, singing that song in it made it all right with me because I love that song. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
For
that's just
sure.
how it works for me. Um, all right, man. So uh, each episode, as you know, we always have our guest bring on a Barney item or a couple items, whatever it is that is the dearest to you or means the most to you. Can you show us what that is? Maybe explain what it is for people who might be listening and not actually watching the episode.
Um, so I don't think I had a thing that was like dearest to me
Uh-huh.
only because before I had a really big Barney collection and we had a house fire and like that
Oh
stuff is
man,
like gone. So I had to like recollect everything. But in recollecting, because right now, like I wouldn't call myself a collector, maybe a collector of videos. Like I like to collect the videos, like get my
mm,
hands on like some of the rare stuff. And I actually came across two of the rarest videos in the series. Um, Love to
nice,
Read with Barney and First Adventures in their original packaging, and they both play all the way through. So I think that's
nice.
pretty cool, especially this one because it's like running on eBay for almost $4,000.
Yeah,
So
it's
I think
crazy.
that's like insane that I was able to be blessed and kind of own a copy of it. And
Yeah.
this was insane because I had a copy of it before that burned in my house fire, but I actually got this copy for only $15.
Whoa, that's
So
crazy.
I thought it was like, I saw it and like jumped on it. Like I thought it was like a prank. Like I thought it was a joke.
Right.
And I was like, I'm thinking it's like broken or something. But as soon as it came in the mail, I played it and it played all the way through. And I was like, yo, like, okay, this is crazy. So,
Nice.
whew, yeah,
Man, those are not, and to find them in their actual cases is so hard. Like I've never
it
owned
was so
any
hard.
either one of those. I do have I have a Great Adventures DVD, and the only reason why I bought it is because they started to include First Adventures as a bonus feature on it, which
Yeah,
I thought was dope. So I have that, but like the VHS versions, I never had a chance to get those two. Um, so it's dope that you got those and with their original casing. I also see behind you, you have the Backyard Gang videos that are like the original releases as well.
yeah. So I have the first eight at the top.
Nice,
What's funny about me, I have the first eight up there, and then behind those, I have all their re-releases. I have their 92 re-releases, and I have their later re-releases as well.
wow,
So I have like, I think I have every Backyard Gang release that was probably released. I have, Waiting for Santa was one of those videos that was probably released the most, and I
Yeah.
think I have like every year that came out with Waiting for Santa. So I think that's pretty cool. I have freaking 18 out of the 20 Time Life videos, and it's like driving me crazy
Nice.
because I can't find the last two for like a decent price. It drives me crazy, and all of my Time Life videos are sealed. So I
Nice.
think that's pretty cool. Most of them are sealed. I think maybe like 2 or 3 of them aren't, but I think that's pretty cool. The value
Yeah.
I got them for as well. So I have quite a few different rare things, some blockbuster videos, things of that sort, all of that
Yeah.
cool stuff.
What's the last 2 Time Life videos you need to finish the whole collection?
I need the hardest ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 senses, and practice makes music.
Practice. Yep. I knew it.
Those are like the hardest ones to find, and it's like I can't. Every time they come on eBay, I cannot get my hands on them. Like I
Yeah.
try to bid as hard as I can, and do what I can. I cannot find those videos.
Man, the sad story for me with the Time Life videos is I used to own every single one. My grandma had a kid in the daycare who she got to the point where she felt she grew out of Barney, and so she gave me all of her Barney VHS tapes, and she had
Hmm.
all 20
Oh
of the
my
Time Life videos.
gosh!
And then at some point throughout my childhood, my grandma and grandpa got rid of them somehow by accident. Like they thought they packed them away into like the garage, and we've never found them
Oh
again, man.
no!
And now as
Oh
I'm an
my
adult and I
gosh!
see
I would
how
be
like,
so sick.
oh man, I'm like, and I'm always like, all right, are you sure that they're not in this other box? But we've gone through her garage so many times that they're absolutely just gone. And I don't think they
Dang,
got rid of
bro.
them on purpose because I have literally every video that she ever bought for me, which is every video that was ever released. So she
Hmm.
wouldn't have just thrown them ones away. Um, but I think it happened by accident somehow. And man, now knowing how rare they are, I'm like, I wish I
That's
could get
so
them back.
trash. That's so trash. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I'm sorry
Man,
to hear that.
I'm sorry to hear about the house fire and losing all of your things.
Thank you, man.
Is there one thing that was in that collection that you absolutely want to get back that you've been trying to find?
Uh, I don't know, like because I try not to think about it, but it's like when I think about it, I
Yeah.
had a lot of cool stuff. Like I had all the Hebrew DVDs. Like I don't know how I got
Really?
those. I think my
Whoa.
mom got them for me, but I had all the Hebrew DVDs, like just all of
That's
them, and they
crazy.
played perfectly. I had a screener promo VHS tape of it was a promo of season 7, and it had the first 2 episodes of season
Whoa.
7 on it. It was like a promo tape. So like to promote season 7, I guess.
Hmm.
I had Good Day, Good Night on DVD, What a World We Share on DVD. Um
Man.
I had a lot of different things. I was like sick to my stomach when I was like,
Yeah.
but I've gotten like, some better things now. So like, like there's I think I have like looking right now, I have the first 3 Barney albums, Favorites, Volume 1, 2, and I have Sleepy Time Songs. I have the cassettes and they're all sealed in their
Oh,
original
nice.
packaging.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I have Great Adventure soundtrack sealed. I have that original 1996 Big Surprise soundtrack.
Hmm.
I have he's right next to me. This from '93. He's still
Oh,
in his
nice.
box and he's in pretty good condition. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I have a Barney chair, um, right here, a little Barney chair. I have the Crocs. In regards to videos, there's a lot of different rare videos. Some screeners I have, some later hit releases. Like a lot of people don't know that like things like Night Before Christmas and Halloween Party, they have hit releases that were released later
Yeah.
down the line. I have their hit releases that are pretty rare.
Nice.
So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome, man. I'm the same as you. I don't consider myself a collector. Um, I got to an age when I was like a teenager. I never grew out of Barney, but I got to an age where I was like, well, Barney's going to be around forever. So I don't really need to keep all of these stuffed animals. And so I gave all of them away except for like 4.
Hmm.
I kept one of every dinosaur that I had. So one BJ, one Baby Bop, one Riff, with the only riff that was the small one, and then a couple Barneys, and then 2 years later, Barney went off the air and everything, and I was like, what? Like I never thought, I never
Yeah.
saw a world where that was gonna happen. So now as I started having kids, I wanted to pass down things to them. So I still have all the videos that were ever released, and now I'm starting to collect things. And now it's more like you. I focus more on like the rare cool stuff than just
Yeah.
an average videotape or toy. And I
Mhm.
have them all in my office now. So now when I have cast or families from my show come in and things, like they see that stuff and like they're always so
Mhm.
excited about what's up there. And it's fun to just talk to people about like, yeah, this was the original video that they released.
Yeah,
This
it's
was
so
like, it's
fun. Oh my
exciting
gosh,
to
I
talk
love
about
it.
that kind of
I
stuff.
love
Yeah.
it. Like I just actually bought and I'm so excited. I'm waiting on it to come in the mail. I was
Mhm.
talking about that Blockbuster, the Kids for Character thing, but
Yeah.
I just bought another one. I don't know if you know about this one, the Play and Learn with Barney. This
Okay.
had 3 episodes on it. It was Oh Brother, She's My Sister, Good Clean Fun, and a Splash Party Please on one VHS.
Oh, wow.
But for the a Splash Party Please episode, so it'll fade out of Oh Brother, She's My Sister, and the opening of A Splash Party Please opens up with the season 3 theme. For some reason, it's the season
Whoa,
3
that's
theme.
weird.
It pauses, rolls down like the season 1, and then at the end when they're showing the title, it's the season 3 title, and it says Best Manners and not A Splash Party Please.
That's
So it's like
interesting.
this very rare like intro, like I don't
Oh,
know, it's
man.
crazy, like it's so sick. And when I was looking at the video on YouTube, I was like, I gotta find this video, and like I'm talking about
Yeah.
the video, and long behold, like the night before I'm talking about the video, I got on eBay, I saw the video, and I was
That's
like,
crazy.
oh my gosh. I'm like, I gotta get on that. So I'm
Yeah.
actually sending you a video because I screen recorded it, but it's so crazy. Like I was like, it's so different seeing a season 1 episode with that open up with that season 3
Yeah.
theme, and it was just crazy.
I've never seen that. So yes, share that video with me. I want to see that.
I
That's
got you.
that Barney magic that they be talking about. How
Yep,
it just
for
pops up like
sure.
that.
For sure.
All right, man. Well, we're getting to the end here. So before we end it, I always ask the same question to everybody. And you're still really young, so you're still, you know, I don't know. Did you ever grow out of? You never. It seems like to me you never grew out of Barney, really, did you?
I went like you said, Barney used to not be like accepted. So I went through my phase of trying to let it go or like ignoring that I
Yeah.
liked it or like trying to forget about it. But it was definitely something I never grew out of. It was like that thing that was comfortable.
Hmm.
It was safe, and I
Yeah.
think that everybody could kind of speak for me with that. It's a safe thing for us. So it's like it'll always be that thing that just kind of sticks by.
Yeah. I was gonna ask. Actually, I was gonna ask you why Barney. Like, why does it stay with you? Why does the world need it? And I think you just answered it. But do you have anything else that you could add, that you want to add to that?
I think back to that quote from the documentary that was like Barney didn't argue that the world was a better place, but
Yes.
it could be a better place with him. Like it's so true because if we all were just a bit more like Barney, not exactly like him, but if we were a bit more like Barney, then this world would truly be a better place. It's like
Yeah.
he's just he's awesome. He's positive. He's always happy. He knows how to cheer you up. He could do that 360 and you're just it's like boom, like everything is better, like or once you hear the first like you just know everything is
Yeah.
just it's over, like okay, get away from me, I'm in my element now, like that's
Yep.
kind of how it was for me, like, and it still is for me. Like you hear that theme song or you hear that song or you hear these drums and you hear that high pitched piccolo that Bob Singleton liked to
Oh
use all
yeah.
the time, like you hear these different things, it's just like they're so comforting. It's so hard to put into words. Like people ask me, like, why do you like Barney? It's so hard to put into words. It's just all I can say is comfort. It's so comforting. And it's
Yeah.
just so, and again, I'm more like you. Like I look on the musical side of things, and I'm sure you do as well because you have a show.
Hmm.
So it's like I look more on the musical side of things. Just the music is so like, oh, like it's perfect. Like I don't know, even though these are regular kid songs, aside from original Barney songs, but even though some of these are actual kid songs that you heard in other shows,
Yep.
just something about when they're sung on Barney. It's
Oh yeah.
something about the way that Bob and Joe Phillips, like, they did these songs, and it just makes it like
Yep.
perfect. Like, I couldn't put it into words. I don't know.
Man, I'm the same way. It sounds like to me, and you sound. I think you feel the same way that I feel. Like Barney was just, it was just safe. Like every problem went away when you watch. Not safe from the viewpoint of like, oh, the content that you were being given was safe content for kids, but like just
Hmm.
feeling accepted, knowing that you're loved and you're seen by this character, just felt like
Absolutely.
it felt like home to you every single time. And I think
Yep.
that's what I think. I think you're feeling the same way that I feel about it when I have to explain what it is. It's just safety.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, man. Well, thank you, Malachi. Thank you so much for sitting with me here, sharing your experiences and your journey with Barney. I really appreciate you for coming on the podcast. I know I said it before, but I always like to say again, thank you for taking the time to believe in this show and want to sit down and talk to us and share what your experience was, man.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate you for asking and being a part. And if you have anything else going on, you can definitely ask me, and I'm on board. I support the vision. I love it.
For sure. Yeah, we'll have to bring you in once we kickstart that the new live stream thing. We'll have to
Oh
bring you
yeah,
in on one of those
that's gonna
episodes or
be
something.
so interesting. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting.
All right, man. Well, yeah, thank you again. Spots of Love, Barney History fans, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And who knows, maybe next time we'll see you in your spot of love. Take care, everybody.
Peace.